Hi, everybody. How are you? Welcome to Impossible Live. If you are joining us today for the very first time, I'm delighted you're joining us for our celebration. Really just wanted to say hi and to say thanks for incredible support, for lots of amazing comments for the people who popped in and joined us over the last 2 years. Hard to believe we are here celebrating year two and delighted to have an Impossible Village joining us today. So, welcome to Impossible. If today is your first time joining us, I hope you have a glass nearby. And I'm a virtual toast kind of girl. And one of these days, somebody will introduce me to 50 Cent and we'll get our vitamin water as a sponsor. But in the meantime, if you're joining us on whatever platform, if you're joining us live, if you're joining us for replays, please just let us know where you're joining us from and one way we can help you in between Impossible Lives. Normally, we're on weekly on Mondays or on demand at your convenience on a wider assortment of platforms. And that's really an interesting thing to say. Some of our amazing collaborators and part of our Impossible Village will let you know that. One of the interesting things about Impossible and how we started was Impossible was a magnet on my fridge from an event many years ago where I walked or tried to walk in the beginning over almost 60 miles over 3 days. And it was a beginning of an amazing, supportive village that I'm really grateful for. And the Impossible magnet was on the fridge during the pandemic until one day I needed it closer to have kind of the inspiration to kind of keep going and help really trying to discover courses of or forces of what people call love and light. And it became almost a joke in the sense that many people who joined me, hey Kimberly, how are you? Thank you so much. Welcome back. Thanks for joining us. And everybody else, let us know where you're joining us from so that we can say hi and thank you for your support. This magnet says I apostrophe M possible in black and gray. My mom saw it one day on, and it was funny because we weren't in the same room, but when my mom saw it, she says, you need to make that P possible. Hi, Lynette. How are you? Welcome. Thank you so much for joining us. That's right. Lynette from the Spirit of EQ, who I met in Yvette Bethel's amazing IFB network community and during trust certification. Welcome. You'll find it's a little interesting today because a lot of people are going to join us and pop on screen. And we're encouraging you the same way. Raise your hand, say hi. It's a teacher's kid. Hi, Michael. Welcome. Michael will join us also later. We're going to make sure Michael's got our StreamYard link. So, Michael, send a message somewhere. We'll put a link in your hand if you need one. But this magnet, my mom said, it wasn't prominent enough that it was in two colors. Hi, Elodie. Welcome from Toronto. Thank you for joining us. And Amalia, thank you so much. TLB Club Monday Night Coaching in the house. The thing about the magnet, though, mom said the P needed to be capital. Otherwise, it looked like the word impossible, kind of an afterthought. And in a wonderful way, capitalizing that P led me to amazing Jonathan Howard, who you're going to see shortly. Jonathan had this beautiful, gorgeous leaf, metallic, full of life, full of the energy we needed behind I'm Impossible. So that magnet led to I'm Possible, towards embracing it and playing with Jonathan's beautiful logo. And Rick, who's way behind the scenes, helped us play with it. And then Jackie Barker took it and helped us bring it to life for the first time possible live 2 years ago. Short story, Louisa Driasher was my first guest. I was approved for lives and didn't want to raise my hand to start them. I was afraid of them. If you're afraid of hitting live and going live, please reach out. It took me 7 months to try a LinkedIn Live. 7 months, because I found an amazing guest and I knew I needed to practice for her. So without further ado, let's kind of switch into some of the lessons learned. And Jackie Barker hooked us up in an amazing sense with our first I'm Possible Live logo. And the ones you see here, Exquisite Eve, who you're going to see, elevated and took us to the next level. But without further ado, I want to bring Carla Sellers in. And the reason I want to bring amazing Carla, how are you, beautiful?
Wonderful. So happy to be here with you, Mel.
Thank you so much, because boy, you have truly been here before the beginning. This I'm Possible Live is Carla and my second project. We're still waiting for the first one to come to life, and it's coming closely because Rick and our team are helping it come to speed. And that first project is creating connections to scale. But Carla, I want to stop talking. I want to give you a chance to let people know what you kind of remember as some of your favorites, maybe, of our Impossible Lives, because it's hard to believe this is 2 years on this journey, and we hit 100 episodes that Carla and her amazing team at Videos Reimagined have edited, touched, embraced, including our first podcast. So,
Absolutely, Mel. First, I want to thank you for the wonderful gem of giving me. Each and every show, each and every Impossible Live that you've done, I have received a special gift from each and every one of them. Each and every one of them. And I can't thank you enough for that. But I think maybe the one that touched my soul the most was our essence of truth and trust. And that's because it took me all of these years to realize that there was an inner child inside of me that I didn't know her, didn't want to know. I was afraid to know her, a matter of fact. And actually seeing our essence of truth and trust has allowed me to look inside me, to see that inner child, to realize that I can know her, I can like her, and I can trust her. It may take a while, but I can. And because of that, everyone that I meet or that I come in contact with can eventually know, like, and trust me as well. And for that, I thank you.
It is really hard to believe. And really, thank you so much for this amazing journey. And Carla, thank you so much for popping in and sharing some of your gems and your favorites. And I'd like to introduce you to a dynamic duo who, Rick, I'd like to make a small change and bring them on together. These two lovely, talented professionals are kind of storytelling, branding ninjas. Jonathan will talk to you about signature style and how to help tell your stories using short form video. Eve is from Visibility Gym. I had the pleasure of meeting exquisite Eve, as I call her, and I will always call her. They're also one of the reasons why when you meet stellar people with magnificent, magnificent energy, you kind of let them come, you let them bring you bring you into the world. You let them tell you, tell you, ooh, how are you? Welcome back. The trifecta got you both at Impossible Live. Woo-hoo, woo. I'm going to shush and let Jonathan and Eve talk because I could talk about these two all day. All day. There's a review somewhere of the two of them making lots of fun of me because I never posted. I had a fear of what they call, Jonathan would say, content is king. Eve would say, Mel, you have a visibility fear. You help everyone else with their fears of visibility, and you are invisible to be visible. Now to impossible to be profitable. But they would say that's where we started. So I'm going to shush because, boy, these two, thank you and bless you.
Thank you. Thank you, Mel. But should we start, Eve, should we start where I started? I'll say some things where I started on video.
Go
So,
for it.
Mel, it's so good to be here today and it's so good to be here today and celebrate with you. I love that you're hit 100 episodes. That's awesome. And you are putting content out there now, which is also awesome. Over to you, Eve.
You can clearly see that we didn't communicate with Jonathan like for ages and forever, but we still like, in our souls we connected, but not verbally anymore. So that's a problem. And it's really so funny. I remember we had this episode of my show with Jonathan, which we ran, and I still want to upload it on YouTube. So many years after, I still didn't. So bad on me. I will one day because this was an amazing show which nobody watched except Mel. And me and Jonathan were, watching other people's social media and give them tons of amazing advice. So I would still recommend people to look at that recommendations and follow through that laughter and banter and whatever it was. So 2 hours of nonsense. So one of our guest victims was Mel. And surprisingly, because we were in great connections with Mel, and we were in every group with her, in every secret spot where you can spot Mel in New York or whatever, we were with Mel, right? So then we start reviewing her content and realize that everybody else seeing the situation differently. And we realized it during the show. So you can imagine how terrible we are. So we didn't really look at that. We couldn't really look at that because we were subscribed with her everywhere and we kind of seen every single bit of her information, which nobody else did.
Nobody else did.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
It was such a revelation. I still feel like, oh my God, because me and Jonathan, I think we were like, oh, what we're going to talk about.
Well, we were just really kind of mean to the person before. Not mean, but direct with the person before. And yeah, we didn't want to be as direct with Mel, but we had to be.
Yeah. But now, I mean, the result was amazing, right? 100 episodes of amazing show, amazing content. Yay, Mel. It's really amazing. I'm so happy that people can see your content because it's so worthy. These recommendations, your ideas. I know our wonderful fellow from Visibility Gym, Maria Wade, she always say, I think that, Mel is a poet. I know she's a poet. She has a poetic soul. And I really want people to hear that poetic soul and this amazing content, which just really speaks to people's heart. So if we push you from that cliff with Jonathan, I'm proud of us.
I'm proud of us too. I mean, amazing, Mel. 100 episodes, and every single conversation that you have is meaningful to somebody. And I think that's really, really incredible that you've hit 100 episodes and everything you talk about is meaningful for somebody. And that, makes a difference, and it allows you to make a difference in lots of people's lives. So, I big fan of stories matter and all that.
Speaking of stories matter, Eve has Visibility Gym, which is coming up shortly, which I never would have made it through without Jonathan, the absolute best accountability partner. And Jonathan has a signature Reels membership. And just like they talk about me with the content, Jonathan is still waiting for Mel's first reel. It will appear this spring. Jonathan, look at his eyes. See, I think I need, the private tutelage, Jonathan, package. Let's figure that out. But as they're talking, this is a real reminder that a lot of us get stuck in our head. We're afraid of how to show up. We're afraid of hitting go live. I am no longer afraid of hitting go live because of these two amazing professionals. Every single thing that you see on the screen right now is design combo between the two of them. They are beyond branding and storytelling ninjas. She's calling herself a visual storyteller, but we wouldn't be here without the two of them. So thank you. Thank you for that. And on that note, I need to introduce you to the absolutely amazing, exquisite Shell. Shell is the reason, whoop, why this is truly a celebration. I was totally, totally stuck. And this beautiful, wonderful woman, oh, I reached out to her. I was like, gotta celebrate. Don't even know the love story part. Where do I begin? How do I do this and avoid burning out? How do I do this and avoid running out of energy? Which Jonathan and Eve, they've been around from the low energy days. And how do you sustain that? And I asked Shell so many of the questions that Jonathan and Eve helped me find the courage to ask in a really safe place. Granted, she works primarily with health and wellness professionals. We all need more of that. But Shell, every element of today, because of Celebration, because of Shell helping me tune into the musical part of Mel, which was hiding, Shell, there's a song behind every segment of today. I have a song for each of y'all, which I'll share later. Shell's song, though, is simply the best. So without further ado, Shell, as you meet Jonathan's success on social and Eve, exquisite Eve of Brand Your Dream, this is wonderful Shell. So Shell, take us someplace.
Wow. Wow, 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 wow. Thank you, Mel. And cheers to you and your amazing celebration. Jonathan, Eve, I've heard so much about you. It's fine. It's amazing to finally put a face to everything that Mel's told me about you. I am just so proud of the woman that we see on this screen with us today. Like, talk about igniting trust. Like, I've watched her blossom on screen over the last year or so. I'm so thankful to Lachelle Adkins, America's Supermom, for introducing us. I believe she's coming up shortly, so you'll get to meet her for yourselves if you haven't met this amazing woman as well. But like, I have watched Mel transform not only through her lives, but like the way that she shows up, her online presence has blossomed. Like she is like showing who she truly is, all facets of herself. She's exploring new possibilities. She knows and trusts that she is possible, hence I'm possible. And through watching her explore the different parts of herself and showing that to everybody over the last 2 years and 100 episodes, I have also learned to trust myself more. And she knows that. I've shared that with her time and time again, especially as of late. Like, she has gotten me to believe that I'm possible too. And so if I can transform and I can see her transform in real time, I can only imagine the amazingness that she has brought to all the lives of everyone that's here and more. So thank you for having me be part of your celebration today. And I made sure to bring a fun, fancy glass. I promise there's just water in here because it's only like 11 o'clock in the morning on the West Coast. But I'm celebrating with you nonetheless. So thank you, Mel. Thank you.
Thank you, beautiful. And hi, Jill Blooming. PQ mental fitness coaches in the house. Greatly appreciate y'all. All right, next person who I'd love to invite to join us. And Lachelle, I know it's school opening. I'm sorry to keep you waiting, but we saving you for a little bit later. Is Michael Roach? Michael has become kind of an interesting way, a real reminder when you meet gems of people in groups, don't be afraid to reach out to them. Don't be afraid to discover them. If they don't reach back right away, timing just might not be right. And if he is available, I would absolutely love to. Woo! Michael Roach, how are you? Welcome.
I'm doing great. Thank you. Happy to be here and happy to be here with you all to celebrate this wonderful episode.
Hard to believe, I have to thank Michael for meeting Michael during the pandemic in a wonderful group. Thank you again. Thank you again. I saw this smiling gentleman with kind eyes and didn't realize we are both from the Bronx. And as Michael would laugh during our Impossible Live, I was a little nervous um, having a conversation with you about marketing art or science. I really was nervous. And Michael laughed because I forgot we were both from the Bronx. He even laughed that I asked him where he was from. But Michael and I are now having an Event Alchemy audio journey, a monthly series, also on LinkedIn at 5 p.m. on 3 consecutive weeks in a row on whatever day Michael picks. Whatever day Michael picks. Michael has wonderful, talented children. And hey, Marie VB, adore you, love. Michael has wonderful, talented children, and I want to work around his busy, busy schedule. So, Michael, without further ado, let's let you say hi.
Saying hi to everyone here. Happy to be here on this wonderful Monday morning, afternoon, whatever time it is for you. For some folks, it may be almost Tuesday. But just here to really mention a couple of things about, this wonderful day with you and spending time with all your friends, and nice to meet your colleagues here. I heard some interesting words like transformation. That was like one of the things that stuck out to me too. Just watching you transform and take on new exciting things that you know. It's like you're getting out of your comfort zone. You're getting more comfortable, but also learning a whole lot. And it's nice to see us both learning together to host these audio events. Each opportunity that I spend with you is a learning opportunity. The other thing I wanted to mention too is that the thing I appreciate about Mel is that she's always motivating others. She has this great personality where she's pulling stuff from you and she's wanting you to do your very best. And so I appreciate that. And I'm just happy to be here and celebrate with you.
Truly, truly honored that you're here. And Shell mentioned Lachelle, and really, I think we should pop up the driving lady. Hopefully, this is a good time for you. How are you, beautiful?
Hey, can you hear me okay?
We can welcome America's Supermom to the stage. Thank you for joining us, beautiful.
Well, thank you for having me, Mel. It's so good to see everybody. Hey, Shell, Jonathan, it's been a long time. Been seeing your face, hearing your voice. It's a pleasure to see you. And Michael, glad to see you as well. Um, this is wonderful. I'm enjoying hearing the stories. It's like, I feel like, you know how you're looking at a scrapbook. It's like, I remember that. I remember that, because we've been during the pandemic. And it's wonderful to take time to reflect and appreciate all the things that you have done. I know for me personally, the thing that really stands out is that you are a phenomenal connector. And I have learned so much from you when you are doing live broadcasts, how you bring people into the conversation, acknowledging them, telling the story, wrapping up in a bow perfectly what they did, elevating them. So I'm always taking notes. Love the presence from the heart, and this has done so much for me. I mean, I can't put into words how many people with, always supporting. Um, there just aren't enough words to contain it all. So I'm glad.
Thank you so much, beautiful. We are going to reconnect with you shortly during a later part of your commute, and I have more to share about you, but I'd love to kind of thank you all for joining me as we're transitioning from our gratitude section to our grief segment. For those of you who have been with us before, I visited Reflections, Gratitude, Grief, and Growth. We've done it twice before, and we've done it from the vision perspective. I'd love to thank two wonderful ladies, two lovely ladies who we've spoken about grief from a different perspective. And while we're toasting to those who are legacies we're celebrating, to those we love, to those we miss, to those who are here, to those we care for, these two lovely ladies have taught me a lot during transitional journeys, and each one of them for different reasons. So I am going to invite amazing Roz Clark, the dream doula. And Yvette, thank you so much. I know you've been with us. That's a Roz gem. And here is amazing Yvette Bethel of Organizational Soul, who has inspired me to become a trust ambassador. And want to say hi also to Angie and to Libby, who are tuning in. And Libby may be traveling the farthest today from South Africa, but really want to just thank you today. And that phone, there is no one in my house to answer that phone right now. I'm at my parents'. I'm going to mute and let these two lovely ladies talk for a sec.
All right. You want me to start on the grief?
Sure, go ahead.
All right. But first of all, even though Mel may not be listening, I'd like to say thank you and congratulations, Mel, for 100 episodes. I'm barely there. Great work that you're doing. Mel had asked me to talk about grief, and so I'll stop smiling. From the perspective of, I guess, my mother, and the fact that she has Alzheimer's. So she's still alive, but there's a sense of grieving that you experience because the person that I knew is no longer there. And, you know, she started out early in life as a track star. She almost made it to the Olympics. And she became a principal of a school. And she went on to become what do you call it? The chief of protocol in our country. I'm based in the Bahamas. And so she met kings and queens and princes and Mandela, all kinds of interesting people. So she's very accomplished. And I'm just setting the background. And I noticed when she was about in her late 60s, we went on a trip together and we stood at the door of a subway and she turned around in confusion and I almost got separated from her. And I just panicked completely because I realized what was going on. But she wasn't diagnosed for about 5 years after that. But just to share with you, you know, what it is that what we're facing now as a family is because the Alzheimer's has progressed somewhat. She has psychosis and paranoia, which is common, and extreme panic attacks. And there was one attack that I remember very clearly where she started to cry while she was hyperventilating. And she started saying, I have to go to work. I have to go to work. I have a meeting and I didn't prepare what it is that I wanted to do. And I stood there and there was no way to reason because the panic was so heightened that there was no reasoning that could happen in that state. She was wherever she was back in time, she was there. And, you know, I stood there because she wanted to do well and she was crying and panicking. And all I could say was, okay, I'll give them a call and let them know you won't be able to make the presentation. And then that was the only thing that quieted her. And all of these kinds of experiences, it's like a very slow process of grieving because the person that I knew who was, you know, and she always says this, you know, I was in control of everything and da 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 da. But she isn't anymore. And she realizes it and she's depressed. She's depressed. So she's grieving who she was. We're grieving who she was. And the other side of it is that even though there's grief and there's release happening, at the same time, we had to learn how to set boundaries because while we went on and on grieving together, I started to get sick. My brother started to get sick. All kinds of illnesses started to crop up. And so my understanding of boundaries has become one where it's loving yourself and the person. Because I need to be able to be there, but I can't be everything for them. Everybody, you know, in our family contributes in some way. And so I found my place where I can give and give freely and happily, but not be drained by it. So I had to trust myself to kind of find that place, that space in between giving too much and giving just enough. I just had to find, you know, where I was supposed to be. And over time, we ended up sharing responsibilities. We brought in a nurse and all kinds of different things. And she's sedated more so now because we tried the healthy route, but the panic levels were so high that she could potentially kill herself with the stress. So the whole path is continuing, but everybody is in a better place as we move forward together, because it takes a village not only to raise a child but to take care of ailing and aging parents. So thank you.
Thank you, beautiful. And of course, the phone stops. But I just want to thank you too for teaching me about transparency because we've been discussing sometimes how it's hard to not just come out with what our identities are, but to function as professionals in our world. We don't always feel the support or the energy. And you have helped me ignite transparency and learn to ignite trust in the
Yeah,
process. And I thank you so much for
yeah.
you because you are a blessing. Boy, I was supposed to meet you exactly when I met you. I
You know,
cannot thank you enough for that.
we do research, and some of the research is in transparency, and we found that transparency is one of the lowest scoring integrity competencies within workplaces. And so it's an opportunity, but a lot of people don't feel safe. Transparency, is connected to safe space. And so without safety, people, maybe rightfully, they should protect themselves in some situations because there may be bullying. But transparency is so needed, and so is trust. Ignite trust.
I want to thank you with that and give Roz a chance. And you should see thank you so much for everything you do. I will continue to thank this amazing woman. Follow her for some fantastic thought leadership and check out her amazing free websites, Pillars of Trust websites on the last Wednesdays of every month at 11 Eastern. Check her out on Eventbrite and check out, we'll be happy to share her links. But Roz, you're pregnant with purpose, quote. I met Roz in one of those big groups where we weren't sometimes sure why we were there, just like Lachelle. Lachelle, I met in a group, whew, almost 300,000 women were in a group when I met Lachelle. And fortunately, I asked what book she was reading. Fortunately, I asked what book. But Roz, just thank you. And I know we're on the grief and caregiving lane for those who sometimes feel isolated during this journey, for sometimes who feel alone during this journey. And Roz is such a rock star. I didn't have a chance to kind of prepare her for where we were going, but Roz and I, if it wasn't for Roz and some DMs for the last couple of years, thank you for everything you do to fuel our ignition switches until we feel pregnant with purpose.
You are so welcome. And, first of all, wait a minute, my cheers to you on this anniversary. And my cup says today is a new day because every day is a new day. And I think that that's one of the things when we're going through transition in our lives, whether it's caregiving for for parents. For me, I care, I have an adult son with special needs who needs my care all of the time, that we have to give ourselves permission to have resilience. We have to give ourselves permission to be joyful. Like, while everything may not be perfect, we are always being perfected in the process. And so allowing for that to happen, allowing for us to be fully and present, fully and authentically present with what we're feeling. So we talked about transparency. And so for me, you know, like literally, he's down here on the stairs just right in front of me. Normally he's up in his room. He doesn't want to be in his room right now. So it's like, okay, let's roll. Let's do the bounce back. Let's make it work. And so instead of like, shh, quiet mouth, it's like, hey, this is what my life looks like each and every day. And so this is how I show up fully and authentically as myself to serve. And I think that when we do this, as a matter of fact, I know that when we do this, we give other people permission to do the same. We give other people permission to cry when they need to. And we also give people permission to laugh when they need to. Because grief it's not linear and it's not one thing. And there are times like he'll do stuff and I'm like,
I could pull my hair out, or I can just laugh and say, okay, buddy, that's what we're doing today. Here we go. And so finding those opportunities to celebrate who they are in that moment. It
Mhm.
gives you permission to celebrate who you are in the moment as well. And so extending grace first and foremost to yourself. There's no rule book for this. There's no
Mhm.
guide for this. And so if this is our charge in life, like I said, be it a child with special needs, a relationship that's ending, parents who are transitioning, our own health, because one of the things Sis talked about was everybody started getting sick. And I say all the time, if it does not come out of your mouth, it is going to show up in your body.
Yes.
And so knowing that, and knowing that you have to be able to say, I'm at threshold right now. Yeah, you agree, sir? He's like, So, knowing that I'm at threshold right now. Or there's days that you just wake up and you're just like, this is a good day. Today is
Mhm.
a good day,
Mhm. Mhm.
you know? And
Mhm.
so in the sadness, in the grief, in the transition, and in the release, you still get to make room for joy. You still get to make room for laughter.
Mhm.
So while they're here, like I said, the things that they do, and sometimes it's like, oh my gosh, what next? And yet sometimes you're like, okay, that's what we're doing today. Here we go. And so we pick and choose our battles and we honor them. So with my son, you'll never hear me say he's diagnosed, right? You'll never hear me say he is, because his diagnosis does not define who he is. He is not autism. He is my son. He is joy, and he is mischievous, and he is fun, and he's all of those things. And he's a lot of work. That's the truth. He's a lot of work. And
Mhm.
so, in acknowledging that and sharing that, and I'll just share a really quick thing during COVID, shelter in place, his seizures had escalated. And I had made the commitment to go live, and like I want to honor Mel because this is her 100th episode. Like I'd made uh, the commitment to go live every Tuesday. And so I had gotten him settled, and I was putting on a face and whatever, and he had a seizure. And so I had to stop what I was doing, go attend to him. And yet I said, you know what? I'm still going on. And so literally I went on with half a face done. And I told people this is what taking care of somebody who has seizures looks like. This is what being the mom of an adult with special needs while you're sheltering in place with no support looks like. This is what being a divorced mother whose husband refuses to take care of his son in the middle of a global pandemic looks like. So I can't be like, well, then he did this and then he did that. No, what does it look like for me? It looks like me showing up with half a face done, saying that my commitment to you was important enough for me to come anyway. And I'm coming as I am. And I'm extending myself grace. And I hope you'll extend grace to me as well. And so that's the process. And so there actually is room for joy in the process. There is room for laughter in the process. There is room to say, I need help in the process. So let all the things be all the things. And Mel, thank you for who you are, how you show up in the world, how you keep coming at it, having these conversations. And I am just grateful that you are in my life. There are no accidents. And I am so grateful that you are in my life. And I am so happy for you. I won't have the audacity to be proud of you because you did this. And yet I am happy for you. And I celebrate you for who you are and how you show up in the world.
Back to you, and thank you. Oh, thank you both for those rich stems, and thank you, Pam. Thank you, Martin. Thank you all, and thank you, Elizabeth, for popping in too. And we're gonna switch into a quote from Martin, although he's got an amazing quote that I'm unable to display today, but boy, we're going to highlight it again because Martin Stark is our courage champion. I want to thank you, Martin, for everything you do to bring love and light. And thank you all for your gems. And ladies and Rick, we're going to show Martin's quote and then we're going to kick it up. Everybody's going to join the party. Hopefully, some of you won't be afraid to unmute as I can continue the celebration part and share some songs that you inspired me to share today. So, as Shell would say, she would laugh since our conversation, a whole musical playlist. Every single one of these wonderful people who have joined us today has inspired a song. Even Rick, who we will eventually get off camera. I promised Rick. I didn't invite him, but I invited him as a speaker, and his LinkedIn notifications are off, so he didn't see it. But now he knows he's invited. So Rick, we're gonna, as even Jonathan would say, as Shell would say, we're gonna kick the celebration up. We're gonna fill the stage with wonderful, smiling, loving people, and Martin's fabulous quote. Sir Rick, how are you? So Rick, you will see, is not on the stage yet. We will get him. We will get him there eventually. But I just, woo! The wizard, the wizard.
Hey.
How are you, handsome?
I'm doing great. So happy to be here and support you in the technical arena and the back end of this great celebration of gratitude, grief, and growth. And I'm just a quiet person in the back end, pulling some strings in StreamYard and making this as perfect as possible. But no video presentation, live stream or otherwise, is ever perfect. It's as good as it can be, and we always love the results. And Mel, you are a fantastic individual. I've seen your growth from how many years ago?
You'd be a little scared, honey. We're 30 plus years.
30 plus. Oh my Lord.
Rick was my
and you
Charlie,
have grown.
you were my Charlie's Angels. You know that voice?
Yeah.
That wonderful voice on the phone. And we spoke for 8 years before we met. How about that?
That's like amazing.
And
but
we were
you are amazing, and I don't want to take up too much of my talk time. This is your show, and take it away. I love you, and you're doing a great job for not just yourself, but for everybody on this stage and everyone that watches and sees. You are an inspiration to them all.
Well, I want to thank you. So, love, while you're here, before you disappear again, because I know you, the song I selected for you is Old Friend by Phyllis Hyman. And the other song on the other way is, as Shell would say, when you're here to celebrate 100 episodes, James Ingram's Find 100 Ways. Because Shell helped me find 101, and Rick has been working on 102 plus. So I just want to say thank you, kind sir. And I know LinkedIn Lives, I think we've got you on one. This may be the first time in almost 2 years. So thank you for coming out and joining us. So
you're very welcome.
Rick reminds me always, Rick is the one who gave me calls to connect as a gem. And he's my discernment wellspring. So really besides the James Ingram song, Rick is the key to how do you keep the music playing. And I want to thank you for that, love. Exquisite Eve, I'm embarrassing you next. Eve is like lightsabers in a branding Jedi. She's my original Smiles Across the Miles. I got that from Eve. Thank you for Dell, for you, for giving me Jonathan as an accountability partner. May the force always be with you, dear friend. My Eve song is Can You Feel It? And my Eve song, you're going to crack up because we actually did a version of Impossible Live. I just didn't tell you were the inspiration. Jonathan Howard. Success on social. My original courage champion. One of these days, you have to meet Martin Stark, because Martin Stark is a courage champion in Australia. And Jonathan, we have an Impossible Live where I was able to thank Jonathan for really inspiring courage decades before with his story and your thought leadership and your signature reels. I know you're still waiting for mine. I promise you, you will have a reel from me before, let's see.
Don't make a date.
I'm making a date because y'all will hold me accountable before April Fool's Day. How about that?
Okay.
I promise. So Jonathan is also talking about signature style recently, which is the missing piece in creating connections to scale, which is the logo for my beta course that Jonathan designs. And besides patiently designing a beautiful logo to help me fuel next steps, Jonathan's song is Genesis, Phil Collins. I can feel it coming in the air tonight is my Jonathan song. So thank you, love. Roz. Only you can hold it down with a song when my internet connection goes out for 3 minutes and 40 some odd seconds. And Roz started with hello. And she sang, bless you. Thank you for love and support on our caregiving journeys. Thank you for encouraging not just a dream doula. You encouraged me to dream in full color, which is another When I Dream in Full Color. It was another Impossible Live. So thank you for that. My Roz song is When I Dream in Color by Regina Bell. So thank you for that. Woo! Miss Shell. So Miss Shell, LinkedIn strategy woman with enchanting and extraordinary, energizing skills. How do we replenish to avoid burnout, to locate sustainable energy, to inspire a new mission, to help others light torches in our fragile world? My shell song, is Simply the Best by Tina Turner, because you rock the house. So thank you much there. I'm saving Michael to embarrass him for a second, and Carla. So Yvette, your integrity and trust, thought leadership allowed organizational soul to help me locate tools to heal my spirit and to restore my self-trust. I'm honored to be your first ambassador. I want to thank you and Ilya Francis for giving me the strength to embrace a new mission, to ignite trust, to help others light torches in our fragile world. Thank you also for being around as our caregiving journeys continue to get complex. My song for Yvette, and we'll talk about this another time, is Forever, for Always, for Love by Layla Hathaway. It's got soul, it's got rhythm, it's got constancy, it's got consistency, it has honor, it has truly Yvette's spirit. I have to thank you very much for that. Carla, fiery entrepreneurial spirit, my genuine and thoughtful trust journey partner, who really helped me take the deepest dive. And our circle of trust has led us both to rebrand in the same month. God bless you. And thank you, darling. And Lachelle is back in the middle of, can we do this? Yes. Lachelle is back. My Lachelle song. My Lachelle song. besides finding you in a group with almost 300,000 women answering a question, you've been the one to really help me continue to maintain my faith walk. And my song for you is complex, and I appreciate you for giving me this gift. But Smokey Norfolk has a song. Lachelle reminds us of self-care. Lachelle reminds us of our mental health.
I need
She
you,
and her
girl.
beautiful family. I'm ready to cook for y'all and do the dishes. Don't need a dishwasher. And Lachelle's got 15 kids, plus, 10 at home, bless her. My song for Lachelle is a reminder of the faith walk. And it's I Need You Now by Smokey Norfolk. And the other part of it is the song Imagine, because there's two versions. They know the word imagine, but the third song would be Imagine Me by Kirk Franklin. So thank you. Thank
Uh,
you. Thank you. Thank you.
I'm gonna have to send you a copy of my daughter singing Smoky Norfolk because she sings that.
Oh,
Yeah,
please.
I'll,
Is this Mackenzie? I can't wait. I can't wait. I can't wait. I can't wait. And Michael, my my Bronx, I'm gonna call you what my brother would say, because I can't wait to introduce the two of you one day. And as we today, I'm not at home today. I'm actually closer to Michael in the capital region. Michael is an explorer. He's a guide. He's a marketing genius who helps us bring labors of love to life with extraordinary care. You'll help bringing event alchemy from a group coaching dream to a launch and a monthly audio series, and to dropping into my open houses with the greatest frequency, and to you, Michael, for helping us at every stage and removing my fear of Canva. My Michael song is "Oh That Happy Feeling" by Frankie Beverly and Mace. And everybody, as Shell would say, the village, there's more in the village. You've seen some of the titles, you've seen some of our great people who've popped in to join us, but I really just have to thank you for joining me today. And Rick would say, as Mel is changing the program as we're going along, and I'm keeping y'all all here because I need your great energy with me. And one of my coaches says you should always end with a view of you. But for today, while you are all here with love and light, I want to invite you to stay in touch, whether you're watching Impossible Live for the first time, or you're popping back, or you're part of my Illuminations groups for talented entrepreneurs on Meta. Safe community, inclusive. You can promote 24/7 as long as you're kind and around to help others solve problems, share their offers, support their dreams, support their next steps. No bullies, no BS, no politics, no finger pointing. Safe, collaborative community. And I thank Rick for asking me about that years ago. Mel, how will you keep people safe? We will always be safe. Or we will tune into Rochelle Farrell's song, How Can We Have Peace? And I'd say we started on Possible Live with songs and had three of them. One was I'm Wishing on a Star, probably is where I need to say is a transition song. But we started with What You Won't Do, You Do for Love, as Louisa Driescher was our first couple of episodes, my first guest, bless you. And I was terrified of having a conversation with somebody with a PhD. So with Louisa, we talked about cultural insights and inclusive leadership, which really matches the diversity, equity, inclusion, belonging lane I'm in, and diversity, equity, inclusion, accessibility lane. I thank you, Louisa. And it's a reminder, raising my hand to do a live just to interview her. So that song would be What You Won't Do, Do for Love by Bobby Caldwell, who actually passed away, or as we celebrated our first Impossible Live anniversary. So prepping, my Ruby Deep and David Dinkins photo pops up, and I thank you for that because I apologize. We're a minute over time, and it popped up on Pi Day, and I got to sleep in on World Sleep Day. For those of you who know, Mel loves naps. And as Mercury retrograde shadow begins, we've got all these lovely, wonderful people with energy as we celebrate with music to fuel vibrant and sustainable energies. I have hashtags you can follow. Ignite trust. Make space to emerge. Creating connections to scale. Event alchemy. And I just want to wish you have a magnificent day. Thank you all for joining us with your love and your light. Thank you for all you do to brighten our fragile world, to help others solve problems, to make it a safer place to live. And thank you so much for joining us today. Until the next time we have a chance, stay safe, stay well, stay inspired, stay in touch, and take great care.